we have just done, in East Africa or in Uganda particularly, we call it Mujaguzo. Mujaguzo is a language which is comes from the central part of Uganda. The word Mujaguzo means celebration. Celebration of life. Thank you. She's celebrating. Celebration of life. Celebration of anything in your existence. So Mujaguzo means celebration. So we thought we'd start with a little bit of percussion, which is very, very, very common in African music or African language. Some of the drums we have here. Anybody was here last week? Yes. Oh, so some of the drums we had last week, which they're in the museum if you want to, have a look at them. These ones are called ngoma. Can we say ngoma? Ngoma. 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 So that's the English way. In Africa or in Uganda, we call them ngoma. 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 Because in English you have no that letter nga. It's like in. It's you know what I mean. Yeah. So you don't have it in English or in written English language. So we put the word ngo, but it's meant to be. I don't even know how they call it in English, but it's like a Q, but in that, so we call it ngoma, right? So these are ngoma. They're made of very special animal skin, like cow skin or goat skin, and of course wood. That's East Africa. Then in West Africa, they use a drum called djembe, right? So this one is, you can see the colors are Ghanaian, but West Africans, they use djembe, very popular. It's one of the most popular instruments, I would say, in all the drums. And of course, it's made out of either cow skin or goat skin. Wood is very popular, as you can see. And then you got the metal rings on the side, and then you got the ropes to hold it. The way they make them, they use hands, and of course, it's a process. And some instrumentalists, when they're making them, they do what they call a ritual way of making them, or a spiritual way of making them, because they believed that if you don't do it the right way, you'll break the next day, or it doesn't carry good message out of it. So it's very, very important. So these are the drums so far we're having today, ngoma and the djembe. The other thing as well, which I say, the djembe usually use hands. The ngoma, sometimes you use sticks, sometimes you use hands, but it depends what sizes of ngoma that you have. The big ones, let's say for example in Rwanda or Burundi, they use sticks, and some of them they carry them on their head and they use sticks, and they do kind of like a procession way of performance, right? It carries a meaning. And the word ngoma in African language means drum. Djembe, what does djembe mean?
Yes, djembe means jen campaign in my language. It means be together and be happy. Jen campaign, to be together and be happy.
And be happy. Oh, yes, very good. So it's like a relationship. Like be together and happy. That's a relationship. Husband and wife.
Yeah, that's yes.
Yeah, but not everyone. Right. So it's like djembe. Yeah, that's very, very good. We use a lot of call and response, as I said. Communication is very important. And of course, drums, long time ago, we used them as a means of communication before, mobile phones came along. So, that's a bit about the drum. Any questions before we move on? Yes, please, at the back.
Not a question, but I'm just wanting to point out that the djembes have a mouth which is at the bottom, and you have to keep it open when you play.
Yeah,
very good. Oh, thank you for that. So very, 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 very important. This is the mouth. All right. So when they build the drum, this is like a shell, and they leave the bottom part here to echo the sound out. That's where the sound comes out from. And when you see a lot of djembe players, they never play djembe flat. They either wear it like this, or they sit down and they hold it like that. But because of the sound doesn't come here, it comes from the bottom. So it's very important. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Thanks a lot. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm excited that next month I'm going to Uganda for the first time in my life, and I'm also going to a wedding. So I'm interested to know what sort of music will I be hearing.
Oh my God, you're going to Uganda! Can you put me in your luggage? Listen, I would say, not because I'm from Uganda, but I am from Uganda. I think Uganda has got the best among all the East African countries. Anyone from Kenya? Before I run out, yeah? Anyone from Tanzania? Oh, yeah. You will be okay. We can sort that one out. I think Uganda has got a variety of music. We use instruments like the adungu. Unfortunately, I forgot my adungu outside my house, so I didn't come with it. Hopefully, I'll find it. So we use instruments like adungu, the tube fiddle, which I'll play in a bit. We have the ngoma, we have the bilophone or the xylophone, we call them madinda. We have, of course, the flutes as well. We have the enkwanzi, which are the panpipes. We have it's like a harp. We call it the name is getting entongoli in our language. Entongoli, which is more like a lyre. Yeah. So there's so many of them. And before we finish, I can give you some of the centers. If you want to go like in an evening, it's just to chill and listen to the culture dances and the music. Music welcomes you to Uganda. So it will be very interesting for you to come back and see. And trust me, on your wedding, there's going to be cultural performance. I trust you that. Because it's part of it.
I'm not getting married. It's a extended family.
Oh, a different. Oh.
Yeah, so it's going to be Uganda there, right?
Okay, but on every wedding, it's part of the culture. So there's always traditional kind of music. So thank you very much. Yeah, lovely. Okay. sana, wageni wakaribishwa Afrika yetu, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hakuna matata. Okay, hakuna matata, 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 watoto wa Afrika, hakuna matata, yo, hakuna matata, make a note of the song we are playing, because you can ask me what do the song mean or what song I played. Hopefully you have a note. All right. What does it mean? I'll come back to you. All right. So. Okay. We're gonna sing together. When I say Guruma, 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 you respond Omugongo. Guruma, 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 Guruma. Jimazava wanda checho, Jimazava wanda nguri, Jimazava wanda checho, Guruma, Guruma, Guruma. Good. You know what you're singing. Very good. Good that you don't know, because it means that if you have your credit card, give me your PIN number. And you've agreed actually on that. Alright. No, it just means that my back is hurting. My back is hurting. My back. Momugongo means my back. Guruma means I'm hurting. I'm hurting. So now, before we go into the song, most of African songs are folk songs, I would say. That goes with our drums and the instruments. Now, the folk songs, of course, they've been around for years and years and years. And when we sing and dance, it's like we're telling a story. It's like we're telling the world, we're telling our neighbors about what we're going through. So rather than coming, when the kids get punished in England, they either don't get McDonald's or they don't get tablets or iPhones or something like that. You don't get Kentucky Fried Chicken. You don't get Kentucky Fried Chicken. Whereas in Africa, we have a different way of disciplining. They used to tell us stories that scared us. Oh, sorry. Stories that would scare you not to do things at that time. For example, if you're going to cut your nails, if you cut them at night, they will tell you if you cut your nails, the demon will come and take your nails and take them away, and you never see your hands again. That will scare you. You never do that again. It's not gonna happen. Well, but those are the things that they were telling us when we were young, so that it encourages us not to do that again. Other than other punishments, which I will not talk about. So, stories, music was telling stories, was educating us, was giving us ideas of what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do, and sending messages as well. Now, this lady, she was waking up in the garden, because yesterday was International Women's Day. So the lady, she was very hardworking. She would wake up, she would feed the kids, she would go in the garden, she would dig, she would bring back food back home, she would cook, and the husband was very lazy. So now, yes, I know, it's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the woman created a song which says, my back is hurting, calling for the husband, can you help me? Help me, help me. Guruma, 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 omugongo. And that's how the song came about. Alright? So, we're gonna go into the song. Then we'll talk about the instruments we're playing. Now, this is the origin of a violin. It's called endigidi. After me, endigidi. 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 This is our African violin, ladies and gentlemen. Because music traveled all around Africa. Every country in Africa, they have an instrument that pretty much looks the same. But just like, as you see intermarriages, the dilution of blood, right? Yeah, it changes, it changes, it changes. So now in West Africa, they have an instrument that looks like this. In South Africa, they have an instrument that looks like this. And in Uganda, we have an instrument like this. So depending where you are in Africa, they will have pretty much similar instruments. And as you've seen, in English, they call it a tube fiddle. You fiddle with your fingers. You have a bow. Music comes from there. And then we have, is that essence, you know, like the one they use on the violin, resin. So it helps the friction. And before, we didn't have a wire. We had kind of like an iron kind of instrument. A string, that was it. But this is a new creation now. So this is the African violin. It's an endigidi. And of course, we've modernized it by putting the jack as well. And this is just for decoration. You tune it as you turn up, you tune it down as you go down to get different key scale. And then you move your hands depending on what song or what sound you want to get out of it. So this is endigidi. And this one is called the Ngoni. Ngoni comes with a family of kora. So this is the family of the kora. But this Ngoni specifically, you can play, you can have the solo, you can have the medium and the bass as an acoustic instrument. Unfortunately, the fiddle is just one. You can have a variety in different key scales, and then you can harmonize it by different. Whereas this one, you have a medium, you have the tenor, and you have the bass. Right? From West Africa, Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it?
Okay. This one is from Burkina Faso. This one we have is named Ngoni, but we have three different Ngoni. This one we call it Ngoni. It means young people Ngoni. And we have also the medium one. That one is only 6 strings. That one we call it Donso Ngoni. Donso is hunter, yeah? Hunter.
Yeah.
It's Ngoni for hunter people. It's just 6 strings, yeah? And we have another one, it's very small. We call it Jeli Ngoni. Jeli is like history talent. The history talent in, like me, I'm from the griot family. And yes, in West Africa, the griot people, you can't become griot. You born griot. Yeah. And yes, this instrument is from my tribe, and yes, from Burkina Faso, from West Africa, and from Mandingo tribe. Yeah, the Mandingo, you can find the Mandingo people in like 6 or 7 countries in West Africa. Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Gambia, and yes, Sierra Leone. Yeah. Sorry about, yes?
What is it made from?
Yes. Thank you. It's made, this one is calabash. I don't know if it, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Calabash and cow skin, goat skin. And before we don't use all of this thing. This one.
You know the
pegs.
the ping pong, the one you put on the drawing, like in the office. Drawing things, yeah.
Before we used to make it like this. We just use the skin to pull it. But now we modernize. We can put this one, and even the pegs. Before we don't use the pegs to make it, but now we use this peg. We make it very easy to train it. Before you have to take like 1 hour to change the tune, but now we just use a 5 minutes or 2 minutes to. And this instrument is very, very fragile. Like now I'm inside here. If I go out, it's become the tune change. I have to tune it again. If I come back here again, I have to tune it because of the weather. Yeah. I'm sorry about my English. I hope you understand. Thank you.
Do we have like 3 minutes to play one more song?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. So we're gonna play one more, well, no last song. They go for break and come back, right? Oh, that's it. Oh, that's it.
Or will you invite some of the audience to come play with you on the drum?
Yes. Okay. So because we have.
Where's Nelson? We learn djembe now.
You learn djembe.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, you know, if we were in Africa, we would be performing the whole day. Yeah. However,
Come here. You play djembe with them.
you wanna play djembe? You wanna try? Sit down. Try. Sit down. Yeah, sit there. It's fine.
He comes from a drumming family.
That's good. That's
And
good.
he has cerebral palsy.
That's okay.
So
There you go.
music is his thing.
We can use one hand, yeah? Let's do one. Good.